Okay. So, my name is Shawn. We are SK Signs Designs and Marketing, and within that, we do photography, videography, and social media management and marketing. But today, we're going to talk about cell phone photography. By raise of hands, who has Android? One, two, three, four, five. Okay, everybody else is iPhone based. Okay. My specialty is in iPhone photography. Obviously, from a photographer standpoint, I've got a little bit of Android stuff, but specifics that you have, you can ask those questions and I can answer those. But a lot of the visuals that you might see are going to be iPhone related. So, very informal. You can talk, ask when you have questions. I do have a couple mics because we are Facebook Live, but we do have another microphone to pick up in-room audio. So if you don't have a mic near you, then you can just yell it and it should pick it up. So cell phone photography basics, how to get the most out of your phone's camera. Um, so the first thing we're going to talk about are just a basic and what makes a good photo. Because obviously when we look at photography or we look at images, some photos look better than others, and maybe you don't know why that is. Talk about phone functions, what do all these icons mean that are on my phone. Some gear, I brought a handful of stuff that we use, and some of this stuff can bleed over into the videography side of things. And then physical questions that we might have at the end of it. So photography basics and understanding what makes a photo appealing. First thing you do, whenever you pull your phone out of your pocket, wipe the lens, right? Because you're touching it, it's in your pocket every day. And I think when Tony first started with us 2 or 3 years ago, we had a conversation about the dirty lens. And it's visually clear, especially with videography and stuff. And then whenever you're taking a photo, there's going to be a smudge. You can easily do your shirt, or if you have a clean cloth for your eyeglasses or whatever works for that. So does anybody know what rule of thirds means? A little bit, no? So typically it says rule of thirds is a composition guideline that places your subject in the left or right third of an image, leaving the other 2/3 more open. While there are other forms of composition, the rule of thirds generally leads to compelling and well-composed shots. And I'm going to have a couple examples on the next page, but in your phone, there's a setting that you can turn on grids, and we'll talk about that later. But as soon as you take your photo, in your camera, you open up, there's going to be those kind of like these blue lines here. It's going to show up on your camera face itself. So you can go and line up your shot, whether it's a product shot or if it's a person, a headshot, whatever you want to do. It helps a lot. So for these examples, we obviously got Jim. That's always fun. But if you notice when you're watching The Office, everybody's always to the right or left. And if there are two people, so say there are two people conversating, the other person would be on this side of the scene, and then they would switch back and forth. So it would be one person on this side, one person on that side, in two separate scenes. But this food photography that we did, I think for Foolish Frog, it's kind of, it draws your eye over here to the left, and we've got some cutlery and a water. Car photography example, everything's kind of here to the left. Draws your eye here, leads you to that. So you see the depth. This was when we were in Europe over the summer, but same thing. This is my subject matter, and then all this negative space here. And I kind of framed it. I was under a tree, so I kind of framed it with the bushes and everything here, and then something simple here. The right side third, leading to everything. So what we're doing when we're doing these kind of things is we're creating depth in the photo. So it's just a little bit more appealing. Granted, this is flat, he's up against the wall, but you notice there's a plant here, which we try to add some kind of foreground or whatever with that. So that's just more of what makes a photo more appealing. And I mentioned real quick, we add depth. Depth in photography is the act of using photographic and compositional techniques to give the appearance that the objects are three-dimensional in a two-dimensional photograph. So, and again, I've got a couple real-world examples of these. These were all shot on the cell phone. Last week, Tony was putting some grommets in a banner, so I purposely slid over the other banners to create that blur. So we've got one-dimensional, two-dimensional, everything's kind of in low order here. Dos Amigos, he's kind of bringing the food down here, so this is in the foreground. He's in the middle ground, if you will. and it draws you to that. Obviously, I can't remember the statue of this gentleman here, but the London Tower is there, and everything kind of draws you back. And again, cell phone use, 3 times zoom or whatever I was doing. When we did our cell phone photography, videography, Greg Hepner, the actor that unfortunately dropped his phone in the bowl of soup because he didn't know how to take his photo. It was a fun shoot. If you haven't seen it, we highly recommend you to look at the fun. We a little homage to the infomercials, black and white. He's kind of fumbling and all that stuff. But again, foreground, middle ground, and then the blurred background. You can add light for separation. Honestly, I picked up some RGBs from Amazon for like less than $100, and I can adjust the color and tone and brightness on my phone, and they do a great job. Sorry. RGB would be, and again, yeah, sorry. So please, yeah, definitely ask that question. So, for example, for this, I don't know, it's an acronym for something, but I don't know what it stands for. But see this phone here, this light here, it changes, and you can adjust the hue and everything, and the height and the brightness and all that. But they plug in. They don't have any heat to them, so I leave them on in my office pretty much 24/7. When we walk in, the back room is lit, and but anybody that has any questions about specific items, email me and I can give you a link to where I purchased those at. Super nice, and I think they're made for exterior as well, so if you want to light the house up outside for Christmas, it's kind of a win-win. But again, just a black table, and then some light separation here, and then we had a studio light. This was taken about a year and a half ago. So that's adding depth, and it could easily be, I'm trying to think of a real world situation. So Nick, if you're at Shell Ring and you're taking a photo of a new beer and you put it here, and then you could put whatever that flavor is in front of that. So like we did if you're doing oyster or even the sushi, you could set something relatable to in front of that just to add that blur and then create that secondary space behind it. Real estate, same thing. You can shoot through a plant. What happens a lot of times is if you're shooting portraits, I've even seen people take a fake brush or a limb off a tree, hold it in front of the lens, shoot through that. So it doesn't even feel like it's there. You know it's not there, but the person looking at the photo doesn't know it's there. For car stuff, I mean, easily same thing. You could take a palm frond, put it up, shoot through that to where that's blurry, and then you got the car, or you're taking the front right quarter panel of that vehicle, shooting down, things like that, or down through. Big thing for car photography would be shooting through the door at the steering wheel or the gauge cluster, and then that door is the foreground. Even the A pillar or the B pillar, depending on if you're trying to get the back of the seat, shoot through the B pillar, and then you shoot the seat right there. So that's basic stuff that you could do. For your upholstery, maybe you're showing behind the scenes of the machine itself, and you can hang up or put up a pillow or something that's there just to add that shadow, something just like that. Simple as that. So any questions about, let's go back, any questions about depth or rule of thirds? And I'll show you how to activate the rule of thirds on your phone. So as soon as you open up, like I said, you'll see these grids.
I've got a question about the RGB.
Yeah.
Do you put the light in front of it, or do you put the light behind it?
So if you're going to do it depends on your tone or your mood. You can change the color of that light and put it on the product, and it's going to change that as well. And maybe it's two complementary colors, front and back, and then you're thinking the white. Typically what we'll do is this is just a regular standard white light, and these were behind it just because this is what the product, that's what I wanted to showcase, was this right here. And I typically try to shoot in portrait mode, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. So obviously, cell phones today, there's so much functionality, so many buttons, that as soon as you open it up, you don't know what they are and what they look like. So we're going to talk a little bit about setting exposure, and when I say brighter isn't always better. The use of all your lenses, especially nowadays, all these phones have 3, 4, 5 lenses. And then photo styles. Who's ever been on Instagram and you look at somebody's feed and they all feel the same? They all look the same. It's the same texture. It makes you feel the same. You can preset your photo styles in your phone, so every photo you take is already ready to go. You just take it, save it, maybe crop it if you want to, and then you can get rid of it.
Photo styles. I mean, there should be difference in them, should there not?
It depends. Mine are always different. I don't have one select file, but I've seen many influencers or even brands, boutiques do it extremely well. They do a lot of that where all the tone, and it's really soft, not a lot of vibrancy in it. So it doesn't have to be the same. If you want it the same, it can be. There's nothing wrong with that either way. But it's just really what you want it to look like. Because typically for me, I'll go to somebody's page. If somebody comes across my feed, or I'm like, oh, let me see what they look like, or what's happening on their side, I would go to their feed initially and just kind of scroll through. And there's something nice about having it feel the same way. There are even apps where you can take one image and it puts them into grids for you. So when you scroll through your feed, it's literally 7 or 8 images, but it creates one big image. So, and we'll talk about apps as far as what we use and what we recommend. So exposure is just basically how bright your photo is in layman's terms. Probably the first rule that we like to do, anytime I pull my phone out, and then if it's too bright, for the iPhone, you just literally click on the image, and that's going to give you an autofocus lock, and then it's going to pull up this sun icon. You drag that down, and you'll see. So if anybody wants to try that now, you're more than welcome to. So you open up your phone, even on Androids, depending on the model. I know one that I tested, you tap it, it's going to pull the slider at the bottom, and it gives you an adjustment. So yeah, and then so you'll see the difference it makes. So if you're in a space or a studio and you want to highlight an item, and honestly we can do it, let me see. So if everybody just learned that, then we're good, we can go, we're done. So I can't AirPlay because I'm doing this one, but I will, at the end, whenever I stop this, I'll show you some stuff on the phone, how it looks like in real world. So this is my camera. I literally just held this down and took a screenshot. Let me see. Let's see. There's that.
Oh, I was looking for the
Yeah.
sunshine to move.
Oh yeah, no. It's very, very gradual. It's not very. You'll see it. And then what you can also do. So you see this button here. So if we click on that button, that's going to open up some items underneath here. Doesn't look like this, but it has a couple different features. But this plus minus is going to be the same way. So you can physically change it here if you're having issues with that icon right there. And then we'll talk about these as well. What are those? Are Jess, I apologize for touching your TV. I'll clean it. So all lenses, don't be afraid to use all your lenses. Obviously, you've seen the one image of the London Tower, and that was with my, I think, 3x zoom is what I did on that one. But typically, at least nowadays, you've got photo, you got super wide, you got normal, and then you got zoom. And then I know for the iPhone it has portrait, Android as well. What we like to do is I'll take a lot of photos under portrait. Portrait just makes it feel like the background's blurrier. And actually exactly what it does. It blurs out the background, which makes it feel more like I'm not going to say real camera because these are real cameras, but it makes it feel more like a professional camera, if you will. So you can shoot everything in portrait mode. And what you'll do, you can slide, it'll tell you to move farther back. Has anybody ever taken a portrait mode and it says move farther back? So what that's trying to do is get the sensor to where your object is. And then once you get it in focus, you can go in and edit the photo and then adjust the blurriness. Let me get out of this. And I will show you what I'm talking about. So let's go. Okay, so that's in portrait mode there. So just for an example, so you see the yellow that comes up there. I'm just going to take that photo. Okay, so we've already taken the photo. So if I click, hey, it's a good photo. So if I click on edit, this here is what we call aperture. That 2.8, the lower that number, the blurrier the background. So if I go in here and look at the bottom, I can adjust. So look at Conrad. He's going to start coming in focus a little bit. So that's everybody in focus. That's just him in focus. So,
I'm not seeing that.
You owe me $10,000 for my life.
I got you. So Tony can help you. So let's go through that again. Let's cancel that. So I took the photo in portrait mode, right? So everybody sees that. And literally, once I bring it in, I click on edit. It's going to pull up everything in here. And then I click on this f2.8, and it's going to allow this option here to open up. Make it blurry, make it not blurry. Yeah. So depending on your subject matter, that's what it's going to be. This button here, and that allows, it has built-in lighting features. So natural light, studio light, it's changing not much. See that stage lighting. So these are all built into the phone. Yeah. All right, so we went to edit. Top left-hand side, this icon here brings up all this lighting options. And then let's see. Edit. Did you take it? Oh, so you took it in portrait mode. There's that. Let me see. Edit.
You know what I bet it was? I think when I took it, it was still telling me to move.
Oh, it might have
further.
been because it didn't recognize. Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
So whenever you're taking the portrait mode, make sure it's in portrait mode so the yellow box is locked in on your subject matter. Oh yeah, look at that. That's a 10,000 back, so it's a wash. So now we're even.
All right, so now, there you go. Now do it.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. So put it on. Say for
Yeah,
example.
I got this. That it
Yeah.
was.
So if we go edit, there's
Okay.
your 2.8. So the fact that portrait is highlighted
You have
here,
to be in the right.
that lets you know that you're in the same mode where you need to be.
What about this, that like 2.8 up here?
So that's
Why is that 6.3?
so if you click on it, it's going to drop this because there's not so. And I say I'm flat because I'm close to this wall. There's no separation between me and this wall. So that's where I was adding the depth. So if you were to take the same picture of this water, you got space between here and here. So that means you got depth in that photo. So therefore, it allows you to make this pop more. Does that make sense? Play with it. So what's going to happen is you're going to get a lot of information. I learn best by doing. I can read, I can watch YouTube videos all day long, but until I physically do it, I don't have the muscle memory. So that's how, and now everybody learns a little bit different. And then even within here, let me see, I don't want to jump forward. Let me see. All right, so while I'm here, so the next one is talking about camera icons, but we'll pull this up. So I'm going to be in standard photo mode. I'm not in portrait, I'm not in panoramic, I'm not in video, I'm not in cinematic. So at the very top, we've got this icon here. That's our flash. So I click it, take it off, it adjusts, it lets me know that flash is on or off. Okay. RAW, not really relevant. So RAW in photography world, it saves all the highlights and the shadows. So in post-production, when I go to Lightroom, I can salvage the darker areas and I can bring down the brighter areas. These phones do such a great job, and it saves file size. RAW is going to be a larger file. So again, sorry, that's probably.
Where do you find the raw?
If you don't have it, and again, maybe your software, if you're updated or not, it could be that. So make sure you're up to 16.2, I think is what's out tonight or yesterday. So always keep your software updated. And like same for the next button. I don't think you have what I've got here. So let's bring that. So that's your flash, and we'll talk about these here as well. So the next icon looks like a menu board. So and I can bring that. I've got an example of that. So this is where you go ahead and set your photo. So say, for example, so I've got it on standard, rich, warm, and it tells you you have a lot of warmth and your negative tone. You can adjust that to whatever style you want. Vibrant, warm, cool. And again, it's this button here, and you can get to it by hitting this button, and it shows up down at the bottom. So let me go back out of that. So if I hit the top arrow, it's right here.
How do you get to the grid lines again?
So I'll show you. It's in these settings.
Okay.
So we'll do that as well.
Can a lot of these adjustments be done after the photo's taken?
They can once you go to edit as well. But if you have a time saver and you want to keep everything consistent, but obviously you know your lighting is going to play a big difference and your scene that you're taking the photo in, yes, and we can talk about that as well.
Filter on Android.
So, and some of these are going to be a little bit different because they're inside. So if you click, let me get back out of this. This icon. Oops, face off. There. So warm, cool, and then your strength. So you adjust it right there. Yeah. And then this next icon is called a live photo. Do we know what live photos are?
Yes.
Has anybody ever used a live photo for something other than taking? I mean, what have you used it for?
Accident.
Accidentally. Okay. So let me see. This is let me see. This isn't planned. So let me go look here. We were just in New York, and I did a photo in the subway, and I utilized the live feature. So I just took this photo right here of this lady. On my screen, it shows live, and I can click long exposure, and it does that. Because it was a live photo, it actually captured the subway going past, but the actual photo didn't show it. So you go in, and you can even do almost like a boomerang situation where you bounce it, and it should. So that's basically a moving photo.
Okay, how'd you do that?
All right, so I took the photo in live mode, right? So whenever you go to your camera, so open up your camera, and in the top right-hand corner, you see this icon here. Or, again, you click this arrow, and it becomes right here. So as soon as that's on, you just take a photo. So let me see if I just did a little bit of motion. I go back into edit. On my screen, it won't show me, it just shows me the photo, but at the very top it says live. And I'm clicking on that, and I can do a long exposure, and it should be a blurry, because it took what I wanted.
But it captures whatever is still.
It does. So yeah, the lady was standing there watching the
Anything
subway.
that's moving
Correct.
blurs it.
Correct. So if somebody's traffic is riding by at night, would be a great one.
Like I just took one of you. And
Yeah, and the
it's like
TV is clear.
TV is
Exactly
still.
right, because I'm moving.
Would that
Yep.
be hyperlapse?
Hyperlapse on Android. Hyperlapse is if you're walking and it takes a series of photos and gives you a video of that. So if I were walking down Bay Street or even by the waterfront park, and I'm like this, and I'm walking as a hyperlapse, it's literally going to take a photo every X amount of seconds. So it's it's like a time lapse, but with photos, not a smooth motion.
Which one would it be on?
So let's see. So if I go to settings, and that'd be one of the ones that I may not know 100%. It may not even be.
I think there's a video.
What we might have to do, depending on your OS, I'll give everybody my card. You can email me, and then I can show you anything, or I can link to something that helps. So that's pretty interesting. So we're going to go off kilt. Let me see what this one is. So everybody knows whenever you're taking a photo, I don't know if everybody knows this. Do you know when you take a photo, you can flip your camera upside down and get a different perspective? And then the photo is still going to be the right way. So first let me show you what I mean by that. This one here. Obviously, I'm lower to the ground and I'm shooting up. So what I did was I flipped my camera up, my phone upside down, and now the camera lens is right here at the base of the ground. And I tipped it back and I'm shooting this way. And again, it's drawing you to the scene. If I were to photograph it this way, I would have to sit down. So you think here, the camera's already, 6-7 inches above the ground. Here, it's right on the ground. So if you're at the beach and there's a seashell or whatever in front of you, you sit this down right there, you're going to get that depth and that leading lines. But what that does, and literally the phone knows, so if I take, say we do this, and again, we're going to go in portrait mode. What I always like to do, change that. If you click on that 1X, it's going to give you a little zoom in feature. So we're here, so it's grabbing there. Yeah, so see it grab there. So that's this angle. And so we're going to do a comparison of the two. And again, it's all about perspective. So see how low I am? And then everybody in the background's blurry, but if I were to flip it around, I can only get this angle.
Now, were you on portrait mode with that?
I was, but it grabbed something else, and I did for the case of time. I mean,
I'm something else.
I'm sorry. My bad.
How you doing? I'm something else.
Sorry. My bad. But see, it tells me it's in portrait mode, and then I can we edit.
I was stunned by what he was doing.
I can adjust it. So see, if you look at this light switch, it's a little bit more in focus here and completely blurred out there. So flipping your phone over, and this works for any occasion. I mean, any product photography, you want to get closer to it. Let me see what else that we've used.
What makes the phone, what, when you turn it upside down, mine does not turn upside down.
Do you have it locked? So if you scroll down on the top right, make sure this is not checked. Is that okay? Yeah.
Can I ask you a question about that live?
Yeah.
So when you go on social media with that, does it play out like that, or is it just a still video?
That's a good question. So let's see. So let me see. Let me do one real quick. We'll do it real time. So if I go here. So if I take this, so I've got a 1 second. So let me see. Let me favorite that. We'll do a test. Yeah.
So it would work.
Yeah. So we do that. I'm gonna go ahead and hit next because it's gonna recognize it.
I figured it out.
Maybe. It's loading. Services. Perfect. Oh, there you go. So if I click on it, and there you go. So to answer your question, yes. Yep. Let me see. I like showing the real-time stuff. Another angle. Flip the phone down, and then grab all that. I know, right? I should. I'm gonna look into that. Trying to think of anything else that's from a photo standpoint, but it's really just more about the angle and the perspective and what you're shooting. Does anybody else know, which I realized this, that you can search the phone in your photo album and it pulls up photos taken on that phone? Any subject, obviously, but I didn't realize it was specific to phone. So like if so let me see if I go 7 Pro. Let me see there. There's my crazy sister. But yeah, when I slide it up, it says Apple iPhone XS Max. So you can put in the phone that you took it on. And you can also search location, places.
You can put in cars. You've got cars.
Yeah, and it pulls up all the cars. and it just shows you.
A lot of school
Yeah.
ones sometimes.
It's just in your. If you go to your photo album, just hit search, or bottom right under phone. Right there, yeah. So let's see. Let's go back. Let me look at this real quick. Let's see. So obviously 3 times zoom, and then you can do further if you want to. Here's a big one. All right, so if you, again, you go into your camera app, you click the drop down arrow, and that's going to give you this number here is your aspect ratio. So old school TVs, CRT TVs were shot in 4:3. So it's 4:3, right? So see how it's more, okay? Square is kind of what Instagram was known for, not so much anymore, it's a little bit different. So you see it blocks everything, so it lets me know what's in that. This one, if you want the whole screenshot, so 16:9. So instead of using your native Instagram app to take that long photo, you shoot in your regular phone, and then you can edit or do whatever you wanted to do. But 16:9 is the full length.
It'll take the full frame.
Full frame. So drop down arrow up top, and then you've got these icons here, which is flash, live photo, your layers or your image style, your photo ratio. Here's your exposure, and then you've got your timer.
What's the best one for Facebook?
Probably 4:3 or 16:9. If you do 16:9, I would do it horizontal.
Yeah.
Delay this way. Because it looks on the feed. So what happens on the feed, you get the full image. Nobody has to click on it to see the bottom portion of that image. It may look better when they click on it, but the chance that somebody's going to click on it and see, if maybe there's text at the bottom or whatever, they may not.
So 16.
16:9. 16. Yep. Instagram or stories or reels would be vertical.
Vertical.
Yep.
4:3.
No, 4:3. I mean, it's really depending on the subject. But if you're trying to do something in stories, I would go 16:9.
Okay.
That way, you're getting the full length.
Regardless of.
Correct. Yeah. Because what happens, and I'm sure. So obviously, this was a square photo that I used an app for to get me these film lines, and then this right here is the square. When I shared it, it shows you that, and then. This is one Tony had taken when we were doing the live stream, and again another one. So it's the full length of this. It's just more impactful of what you're doing. And again, this is a horizontal image in a vertical space, and then you can fill in your text. And again, just sharing that.
So you can do 69 on Instagram too.
You can, yeah, just take it and physically rotate it, and then ideally going to do that. And they have some. So let's say for an example, let's say we did. This one, here, say this one. You can take it and just fill it in space. And you could even do, so you can do icons like this just to let them know to rotate. And then, obviously they would know to rotate, but we did a video where it was vertical, and then I counted down, and it went to the full broadcast of the cinema shot. So it was kind of a visual to help them. That's like on TikTok, when people are doing it, they'll do it one way, or they say, all right, turn your camera in 3, 2, 1, and maybe it's a drone shot or something like that. So just to kind of let them know to go there. It is a lot, but that's play with it. You're not going to break anything. Right, so you're not in the back end and nothing like that. So it's really just playing with everything. And we can do an Instagram class if people are interested in it and learning about things like this. These are all built in. Yes.
I heard the best way to videotape was this way. Am I right or wrong?
I think again, it's the platform that you're putting it on.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So if you're, it's tough. Because a lot of the stuff that we do, I'll have either one sitting like this and then the real one sitting this way. I say real one, sorry. I'll have a cinema camera sitting this way and the phone this way because I can have both content. It lives on both spaces. So it's really depending on the subject matter, and but we watch our movies this way, right? But social media has taught us everything this way: TikTok, Instagram Reels, or whatever. It just seems more. It's as minor as the inconvenience is. Flipping the phone this way is, it's just like time and seconds that people don't want to waste. So yeah, we'll do both. But I know if I'm doing something for Instagram and Tony's filming it just real quick, we'll shoot it this way because I want the full screen. I want the full impact. So it's really just depending on what you want to shoot. Let's see. Let's go back. So while we're here, we know what time lapse is. It's a passage of time, and it just takes a series of videos or photos to create video, which is great for building something or putting something together. A lot of people do it for a remodel. If your shop is being redone, a window or whatever, that'd be a great opportunity. You're setting up for a car show, great opportunity. You're working out or you're filming behind the scenes of something would be great. Slow motion, obviously, if somebody is dropping something in the water or your kids are playing or running or whatever that looks like, it's always fun. So these numbers here. So 720, so HD is, it's so weird to explain this. So 720p is the quality of the video. It's a smaller image. HD is a larger image, a little bit bigger, better quality. And then the 120 is 120 frames a second. Super slow motion is 240. So does everybody, I'm really getting off track here. So a video is 24 photos for every second. So when you look at a video, there are 24 images taken within that 1 second to create that clip. If you look at it that way, the photo, so what this does is it takes 240 photos in 1 second, drops it down to 24 frames, and it loses some. So it's a lot to learn. But if you just think about every 1 second of a video is 24 photos. So when people do time lapses, that camera's taking 24 photos and then that. So you remember old like 8mm cameras or things of that nature? It was only 16 frames. So 1 second was 16 pictures, as opposed to today, it's 24 photos. So.
What would be a good frame rate to shoot the video in?
24. So the standard cinema frame rate is 24 frames a second. That's going to give you that. So when I do this, you see the blur in my hand. You see the blur. If you shoot at 60, it's crystal clear. It looks like a soap opera. It does. It's too much. Like when you go into Best Buy and that TV is super crystal clear, they have the refresh rate set too high. They do that because it looks better. And then you're going to buy it, and it's a showroom floor standard. But then you get home, you're like, oh, everything looks weird because there's no motion. Everything is just smooth, and it shouldn't be that way. Right. Our eyes don't capture it that way.
So you recommend 4K 24?
4K 24 is good for if you're doing video. So I know this could turn into a cell phone class, but if that's what. So at the very top, 4K 24 frames a second. You click on it, 30 frames a second. 60, and then 24. 4K 24 is a good recording rate. Let's see. Like I said, we went off track a little bit, but panoramic mode, obviously, a couple things you can do. So typically, people take panos like this, right? So you see the arrow, slow it down, keep it there. So that's going to get this. But if you want to get, say you're at a building, say the Empire State, wherever you're at. So you get down, you're in a cathedral maybe, we've been inside a church or whatever, and then it's going to give you that. So just rotate it, go up as opposed to horizontal. That's really great for, like I said, inside of a church or a cathedral or a building, or if you just want to get more sky than whatever's around. And if you're in portrait mode, you can go ahead and change this built-in studio lighting. Let's see, let's use this water again. So if that's there, so over here. So we go to studio light. Feels the same, nothing's different. Contour lighting. That's going to be the big one. So if I do It's having a hard time there. Well,
Because it's clear.
yeah, I think that's probably exactly what it is. Yeah, so, but you can play around with that. I highly recommend playing with the settings. So even in, let's do this real quick. So we're already in portrait mode, right? And we are, let's just do it this way. I'm gonna take a picture of this. So if we're looking at this, so at the top right, you see the F? So if I click on that F, I can go ahead and adjust the blur, yeah, the background. And the terminology for that is aperture, A-P-E-R-A-T-U-R-E. And if you do decide to get into photography with a full camera body, that's where your money is going to be spent on lenses. The body is good, but the lens of the glass is where the money is spent, because not all glass is created equal. And you have lenses that are lower number, like 1.8, and that means the background is super blurry, bokeh, and you have some that are just higher. So do we have any specific questions? Let me get this back. Oh yeah, let's do let me get that back over. Sorry, that was a good question. Stop. So let's bring this back up. So if we go into settings, then we're going to go scroll down to camera. And then you can go ahead and preset. So if we look at formats, high efficiency and most compatible, it tells you to reduce file size, capture photos and videos in the high efficiency, most compatible, blah, blah, blah. I have plenty of storage, so I just do most compatible. You can go ahead and set your recording video at 4K at 24, if you want to do that. And it kind of gives you here, a minute of video will approximately be the amount of megabytes. Obviously, the higher, 4K at 60 is a higher file size. So if you're limited on 4K at 24 is ideal. Show PAL formats. We're not in Europe. We shoot ours as our broadcast is NTSC. HDR is high efficiency. Record up to 60 frames per second in video. 10 bits is a lot of words. Auto FPS, that's auto frames per second. And then you can lock your camera. But if we go to, see where composition, click on grid.
What?
We're still under camera. And we go down to the word composition. There should be a grid option. Click that on. Yeah. And have y'all been seeing the mirror front camera? So when somebody looks in a mirror, you're looking at the opposite side of your face. So you don't see yourself the way we see you. Other people see you. So I'm looking at you. You're my left and right. Your right is my left. When you look in a mirror, it's the same opposite for you. So you can flip your mirror to where it shows the right way or not right. So that's an option here.
So you want it to be mirrored.
If you want to see how people see you, yes. Yeah. Huh?
It's normal. Mirror front camera is normal.
Okay, yeah. And then view outside of frame. That was when, so if I go here to this camera, photo. So show outside of frame, it's showing me this just because it can. If I click that off, this would go black and I'm only seeing what's in frame. But visually, this is enough of an indicator for me to know what's in my frame. So it's not a big deal.
That mirror front camera, does that correct it when like you do a video and you show like,
yes,
like you write something on a piece of paper and show it?
It should. So yes. So that should. I think mine is set on the.
Camera will correct that.
Let's test it. So if we're here, let's flip this around. Oh, sorry everybody. So it doesn't do it there. So maybe it's more, let's see. It's still the same. I wonder.
So now, I just took a picture at Market And when I took the picture, it was backwards, but then when I went back to look at it, it had corrected it.
Got it. And I just heard what you said, so that makes sense. I had a brain fart. So I think, yeah, mirror front. No, that was front. That's rear. Yeah, so I think maybe it's in post. I don't know. That's a good question. We'll have to do some research on that. And again, you can just go ahead and set your photograph styles. Everything's built in here. It kind of shows you. Yeah, use rich, contrast, use standard.
What is that under?
So that's, again, under camera, and then it should be highlighted in blue. And again, this is iPhone. Android does have these under settings. So, and then there's also lens correction. Correct lens distortion on the front of the ultra-wide cameras. So if you take, it doesn't look like it's warped. So it corrects that as well.
So older phones are gonna have that, I guess, sometimes.
Yeah, maybe or even the ones,
Probably 12 and up.
maybe, yeah.
That makes sense.
And then macro control. So see this right here? That's letting you know that the macro option is on, and you can turn it off.
What's that?
So macro is close up. So if you do, it just affects it. It takes advantage of one of the 3 cameras here. So for you, you could do that if it's basically, let me see how close it can get. So that's pretty clear.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. And then there it is without it.
Where is that setting?
So again, if it's on. So in camera, in settings,
Just turn it on or off.
turn it on.
Turn it on what?
Lens corrections. Again, you may not have it because you've got 2 cameras on the back. So again, that may be a feature of the ones with the 3 cameras. The 3 lens, yeah.
Might be blowing up.
Yeah, and maybe it's a software thing too. Are you a 16? Yeah.
Mine's a 6.2.
Yeah.
Automatic update.
You got is it just the Max or you got the Pro Max?
Bro.
Should be like mine.
Spell it M-A-C-R-O?
MACRO. And that's just a term for close-up photography. So everybody's grid is turned on? Doesn't make any sense. I'll give everybody my card. You can just hit me up and I can look into it.
Sean, one quick question.
Yeah.
I think I've got one of the older phones, but I've got a preserve settings option here. Should I save all of those so it saves the settings I just did? Or?
Yes, you can, yeah. That way you're not having to change it every time. Yeah. So now that you may have already had the grid on and just not noticed it and looked through it to where it wasn't, yeah. For what? So real quick, I know we've got about 10 minutes. So some of the gear that we have or that I brought with me, so real quick, this is a relatively inexpensive RGB light that you can get from Amazon. Changes tone, changes intensity. We've used this, again, that picture with the red and blue, you could easily use 1 or 2 of these. This is a little bit brighter. This is only 2 color. This is white. And then what you do, you slide. So see you can do that. And this one or this one? So either one. So when we do Facebook Live, like we do for Biff, I'll use this and put it on top of this right here. And that way it has a light, almost like when you're doing an interview. So these little things at the bottom, I know it's pretty irrelevant. These are called cold shoe mounts, C-O-L-D. There's no power to it. They have a hot shoe mount, which is, say, a flash, because there's electricity running through it. And then that could easily sit This is called iographer, IOGRAPHER. And your phone fits in here, and you can go horizontal. It's got tripod mount, vertical, horizontal, 2 spots. So if you go live on Instagram or whatever, that's super easy. This is another basic kind of a tripod, Manfrotto. This will hold actually a bigger camera, but you can adjust it. So if you wanted to shoot something and keep it still, you could do that and then just hit your button. Obviously, we know what a selfie stick is. If you're getting into video, this microphone is a Movo. It's really inexpensive. And I've got a clip which attaches to this. So if we're out doing a video, say we want to talk to somebody, this is pulling in. And then there's an adapter you get from a 3.5 to your input on your phone device, Android as well.
You said MOVO?
M-O-V-O. This is the VXR10. It's good audio. Yeah, it's clean. This is what they call a dead cat.
Looks like what?
And it helps break down the noise, the wind. So this is the actual microphone. This stops the wind noise that you
So
hear.
if we're doing a live video outside, we just put that.
You can, yeah. So if I were to do it live, and say if you're holding it or whatever, so let's just do it. So this is an Osmo Mobile, I think a 3,
Which one?
DJI Osmo 3, and then the 5 or it is a stabilizer, yes. And this is the newer one that just came out. And this just allows you to, I'll use this one, yeah. Super smooth photo and video. And like if you're walking, if you're doing something in your shop, you've got people on. So it connects just like that.
That's amazing.
And then that stabilizes it because I got the cases a little bit off. So DJI and then Osmo, OSMO. Less than $200, maybe 150, one something. So it's really inexpensive.
You would
And-
set that on a countertop.
You can, and what happens? What's really nice about this? DJI has software that you download the app, and it'll track you. So say you have this set up and you wanted to do a cooking show for whatever reason. You put this on and highlight yourself, and you walk. This is going to move and follow and track you, based on the DJI software that they have.
That's scary. Track you in the house.
Sean, you also get to turn it off.
Yeah.
That's a little cheaper option.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
somebody doesn't want to.
Right. Pivo, P-I-V-O is another brand. Yeah. So LED light. So a bounce board. So, and I know we're pressing time. We got 10 minutes, 5 minutes. A bounce board. You can buy this at Staples, which is basically just like a white foam board. And if you are, so who knows about Black Sheep here in town, the restaurant. So you've seen their photos. All her photos are done. We put a frosted piece of vinyl on her glass, so it automatically diffuses that light. She takes a table, sits it up by the window, and has a board on this side. So what's happening is taking the light, bouncing off of this, and hitting her. That's why all her images are evenly lit because of that. So she's using natural light, bouncing it off of a whiteboard, which it could be coroplast, it could be even a poster board from Target or Staples would work. And then that just allows that evenly lit deal. And you can do opposite of that. You can buy a black one, which absorbs the light if you want to create contrasting shadows and add some more stuff to the thing.
That's called a blackboard.
Yeah, blackboard or whiteboard, and both. Again, I might even have we do yard signs, so we can use yard signs as well. And it's just the black absorbs the light. Some of the apps that real quick, tripod we talked about. Obviously, this one's because it's a different brand, but you can get really inexpensive ones at Walmart or even Best Buy or B&H. There's another website that sells a lot of stuff. And then the gimbals, like I said, these two are here, anywhere from $150 to $200. If you're starting to get into video, those are great investments. So.
Do you use a ring light?
So I was going to bring a ring light. I don't use one. I have one. I don't need one because I've got studio light, different lighting. But I do have one, and those would work well. We literally was going to bring it. But you could set it up, turn the ring light on. It has a housing for your camera. That would help light whatever you're lighting as well. So even if you're doing a makeup tutorial, doing something, a lot of people use them. You'll see the reflection in their eye. So let's just for semantic, this is our information, our email, our work phone, website. We're on all the platforms. So let me get out of here real quick. Oh, sorry, was that up enough? Okay, and I've got a card I can give everybody. We're located in Port Royal, but I've got, we have access to the BDC. So let's go here again.
So,
Oh, TV went away.
another call.
Yeah, no, you're good, good.
The bounce board, does that work with any light or just natural light?
It'll work with any light, anything that you have. So if you have,
Is there benefit to using a ring light on a bounce board?
no, not at all. No, it's going to be the same effect. It's really just the light source that you have coming in. Take advantage of what you have. If it's that, or if you buy one of these and you need more light, you know, it's used in photography, like portraits and stuff every day. So I have, trying to see if anything that's going to benefit everybody. This is a fun app, which I haven't used in. So this is HAI, let's see, HALIDE. If you want to get more into your photography, it's got some autofocus features, a little bit more advanced once you've mastered your built-in phone. Let me see, anything that I can think of that's relevant that you might want to use anyway.
Are there any good filter apps you recommend?
Lightroom is good.
Lightroom?
Just whatever built in on Adobe Pro. I have, yeah, Lightroom's good. And if you guys are getting into video, you can, you know, Adobe has a suite which you have download and access to all their apps. Like Adobe Clip is good.
Shawn, what was the first app that you showed me?
HALAIDE. Hold on, let me spell that right, because that wasn't right. HALIDE.
I have a question.
Yes.
When you're making reels,
Yeah.
do you use? I've just been using Camera Pro.
Okay. So what I would, so video reels, not just stills. So CapCut, CAPCUT. This is going to be it's a game changer for everybody making reels.
Video links.
And I can do
Yeah.
that from my phone.
You can. So Tony
My
edits
MacBook.
all of our videos, 90% of them. He uses CapCut, and that's what's our advantage, CAPCUT. And what we like about CapCut, it's 100% free. But when we open it up, say I want to start a new project. Well, let's just do one here. So we click on Auto Cut. It's going to do everything for me, right? So I'm going to go in. It's going to pull my videos already. Let's just say we want to do something for Dos Amigos and Rancho, kind of an overview. So I've got a series of clips on my phone. Okay. We're going to hit, it'll do up to 13 clips. I click next. It's going to analyze. But audio's not because it's pulling through here. And you can adjust different styles. You can change the sound. If I go to replace, I can sign in with my TikTok. Yeah. And it's going to pull that in. But it does have a lot of features that we're finding out that's equally as equivalent to a Premiere Pro or whatever you're doing on there. So, oh, it's 100% free. 100% free.
Costs a little bit of money, but it
Yeah.
has, viral reels.
Yeah, yeah. And there's nothing wrong with Canva or anything like that. This Grids app, which I didn't, it's expensive, but I didn't do that one. Let me see. There was another one. What I'll typically do, to be honest with you, I'll take these and I'll do the trial version, and then just make sure I cancel the subscription and test it and see if I like it. I'm not going to spend $8 a week on something that I could easily do in Photoshop or Lightroom.
Right.
I would just be paying for the convenience factor. Let's see. This is a fun app. If you have, which I've been using this a lot. This is paid, and I do pay for this. So say, let's go. Two stories. Yeah. So like just for example, and Jess will stop in a minute. Can't spell it. Let's just go here. B for digital corridor. We're going to go to, say we pull up news. Let's not go there. Events. We click on this. We're going to take the URL. All right, we're just going to copy it. And this app gives you options to paste these into your stories in Instagram. So I can do a link, I can do a video, I can do a collage, or I can just do text. So I'm going to click on link. I'm going to paste that in. And it's going to give me options. So it looks better than just whatever else you want to put. So it gives you, so the black background. Let me do another one. There's, because it's pretty cool. And you can even do your YouTube videos and stuff. So if we go here, we go link. So visually, that looks better when it's sitting in your stories. There's a full version. You still have to put the link emoji or icon or whatever there, but it just adds more. So I would take it, I would download it, it saved it. I would go back. So you go.
That's not content that you create. You went out and copied that content.
I did.
from somewhere else.
Correct. I just, so for Visit Beaufort, for biggest thing is sharing a news story.
Yeah.
They just got the friendliest small town, or Port Royal did, or whatever, and we would share it that way. It just adds more visual appeal or appearance.
Rather than
Than just a
post itself.
Exactly, because you're filling up the full space.
Yeah.
And it just adds to that.
What's the name of that?
To stories, TO, as in we're putting it to our stories.
What about recording on screen navigation?
That's it. So if we were just going to do like a screen recording, I can't screen because I'm recording. But you're talking about like on screen here or on screen at home?
Like pointing somewhere.
They have apps that have touch sensitive. Like if you're doing it at home, what I do is I do QuickTime, and I do screen recording through QuickTime. And then there's another installation that you can do to where it highlights the mouse. So there are apps that do the same thing to where if I was screen recording and I touched here, it's going to pull that up. If anybody's looking to take sunset photography, this app called TPE. It's free, but it's called Skyfire. And it allows you to see, it predicts the color of the sky for the next day. It's not loading up, but it'll give you a color grade from red being the most colorful to white or clear being no color at all. And it's worked sometimes to my advantage and other times not, so it's not 100%.
What's the name of that one?
TPE.
That's a pay one or a free one?
The app is free as far as direction of the sun, but the Skyfire is like maybe $9 a year or $9 a quarter or something like that. Not too expensive.
Any tips on sunspots, sun beams? I feel like the more
That yes. So yeah, I mean they don't have. So what she's talking about is the sun flare that comes in, and in almost every photo that you take it, there might be like a green, looks like an alien by the sun or whatever, and that's just because it's hitting this. If anything, maybe a makeshift lens hood, or even your hand, or you can bring something else to cover it. But that's probably going to be the easiest way to do it.
Just to put a shadow over it?
Or just to help with the glare, because what happens, like if you see a regular camera lens, it's got that hood that goes on it. That just eliminates the sun rays hitting that glass and creating that refraction. That's essentially all it is. Trying to think of anything else. Filmic Pro, if anybody's into videography, this is a super fun app. And again,
what's it called?
Filmic, Filmic Pro. And this allows you to change your color. Obviously, some of these are paid, but you can. Yep. So, all right. So I've given away all my secrets. So. Yeah. So does anybody else have any other questions? I have. We're on every channel, so if you need to hit us up, we're available. I do have
Say Filmic Pro.
Filmicpro, yeah. And I do like literally a handful. So I'm available for any questions or consultation. Anybody ever wants to come to the studio, see what our space looks like, you're always more than welcome. We're not there every day, but if you hit us up and say you want to come by, we can let you come by and see what we've got, see our gear, or anything like that. Nick knows how it looks now. It looks pretty good.
It does look
Yeah. um, Jess has some calendars of what the events that are happening in the Buford Digital Corridor this month. So if you want to grab one of those, and if you're interested in joining the BDC, Jeff can help you with that as well and take advantage of the networking events, the space, this space here, and then some of the downstairs. They have some cubicles that you can access. Free internet. The internet's fantastic. All right. Anybody else?